Hello there, you amazing internet and you beautiful creatures of the beyond. Nice to see you all. So, what will trigger the AI and how it will be done? Now, as we have discussed previously about AI, by itself, AI does not pose a problem as it is right now because AI is dependent on us mostly. Well, on everything basically. But in the hands of powerful corporations and individuals, well, it could slip out of their control, given time and resources, of course. Because, as I said, it just takes one stupid egotistical person to push the button and release the long lasting damaging effect into this world. So, what we did not touch is what is the reason that mm, makes these stupid people push the button and act in this way? Well, the obvious answer is profits. Clearly, it's profits because, um, yeah, companies want to make money. But if we take a closer look to this aspect, well, we live in a society that revolves around the concept of high risk and high reward. And this is like an after effect of how the competitive economical biome works for us. Basically, capitalism is the machine that puts everyone in a rat race. And the bigger rat gets to stay on top over the other suppressed rats that he's stepping on, just so that he can be relevant and he retains the most power. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to put every company in existence under the evil tag or immoral tag, but the fact is this: once an organization overgrows exponentially and has a very morbid volume of employees, it becomes extremely difficult, not impossible, but extremely difficult to, I don't know, to manage these activities within the company and the thought process of all the individuals that run through the various departments versus a smaller company that works together and acts more like a family, if you want to take it like that can in most cases correct their business decisions that might come out as on the immoral grounds. And now, if we really think about it, big companies can easily justify their mistakes. Um, in their view, like the big evil corporations, the world is just collateral damage, where they simply just make a big profit out of it. And when they get caught, it's not a thing of if, but when. All they have to do is just lie and pay a big monetary penalty for their sins. But usually that penalty is just a percentage of what they have made. So let's say it's between 40 to 60 percentage. What they keep in their eyes, it's still worth the risk because it's a profit that it's not taken away. Um, so no matter how much they pay, they still earn something. And this is very deranged and damaging. And based on this, a lot of the safety regulations are very loose and have many loopholes. And we do not have to speculate on these arguments. Basically, all we have to do is look at history and see all the big oil spills or toxic dump sites that affected the environment. And they're like, well, eventually somebody's gonna notice, because and come and clean this up. because we pay all these public services with taxes and so on. So it's their problem now, you know, and that's the worst approach possible. Legally, yes, that's how it works to a point, but morally, it's insane. It's like trying to deforest an entire area just because the company knows it's gonna make insane amounts of profits, but they don't care what comes after. If the area becomes a desert or the people who used to live there are now affected because of the climate change and so on, for them that's not a problem. It's somebody else's problem. And for these companies, or maybe I should correct myself, it's the individuals that actually take the decisions in the name of the companies. Everything is about the rewards, regardless of the atrocities they leave behind. And let's look at a normal person's life situation, you know? Let's say you're in the United States and you're making around, I don't know, $1,000 a month. Well, maybe like 600 goes to rent and utilities, and you're left with 400, and that's enough for food and some other small necessities. And of course, if you have a car, which in my opinion is like a mini apartment because you constantly have to invest into it and you're kind of living into it in the car when you're just going from place to place. It's a tool at your disposal and you have to invest money to keep it running. And unless it's a truck that you can use to make money with it, otherwise, it's just gonna eat a lot of your savings. So in this case, you might need much more, let's say around 2000. And maybe out of this 2000, what you're left is with a little bit to put on the side for those rainy days. But in other words, it's kind of like barely surviving from month to month. That's the best case scenario for an individual. And I'm not even mentioning here families and the costs of families and the sacrifices needed to do from the monetary perspective, and let alone mortgages that are a whole nother beast. So, yeah, it's kind of dire how we manage to create our society around this money dilemma. But if we would live in a less competitive driven world and more in a cooperative driven world, we should not need this to chase these big rewards for based on the big risks, because then we would just need enough money to have a roof over our heads, food on the table, and money for hobbies that we enjoy. On and to counter all the negative effects that I have mentioned previously, we would need free public institutions that ensure our lifestyle is safe. And of course, all of the issues that would need to be solved for this kind of lifestyle to even come close to fruition won't be solved overnight. Perhaps it will take even generations, because it took generations to this point to make it into these sad, dilapidated states that they are. And it was all done kind of in the name of privatization and financial profiting for the big companies. And the reality is that this change should start with us to, if we really want to make our society better. And we need, in that way, we can shake the foundation all the way in the corporation all up to the top of this world, you know. But when companies want to have an advantage, they do not care what happens in their wake, as long as they manage to persuade you to give them your money for anything that they place on the market. So on paper, capitalism should generate rewards based on merits and quality, but in reality, these savage competitions end up making companies look for a fast, cheap, and often insecure methods of staying alive in the market. And this translates to worse quality products and lower safety methods to deliver these products to the market. Of course, there are regulations, but they can be bent to such an extent that, yeah, you know what can happen. So, related to this, AI safety and morals of implementation are basically an afterthought in this technological economical world, because no matter the cost, as long as there is a profit to be done, the general public can suffer for all these companies care, as long as they have the money and know how to spin them to make their legal issues go away. Nothing will really change in the outcome of someone not pushing that do not touch this button, to release that atrocities that AI can bring. Well, when it's implemented immorally and bad and so on. And as I talked about that movie Team in the last episode about AI, it's the best example that describes this issue about corporate greed. And the real fear should be about the stupidity of humankind, of these individuals, that wield tools that they don't fully comprehend, but worse than that, they do not wish or care how to comprehend and understand them. But let's not leave this on a dire note. There will always be some open source contingency, so we're not totally defenseless. So maybe we should encourage ourselves as a society to be more active in the administration and the politics that of safety regulations, and to make sure that the penalties of these imbeciles that push buttons without any regard for human life, that them and their companies do not only pay a monetary value for their penalties, but are totally dismembered um, for their activities and existence as a whole because of their immoral acts of trying to commit harm towards humanity. So, if we can achieve in putting our brightest minds together, we might have a remarkable future ahead of us with an AI that will learn everything that is valuable to us and to them as a whole. We because we are human. We are still bound to make mistakes, but we should at least try to make the least horrible ones if we can, because uh, in the future, it might be just a matter of time before some people will want to merge their brains with AI uh, to enhance their lives. And maybe we should aim for a beautiful experience rather than in this process instead of a dreading one. But of course, that is a whole nother story for a different time. Still, I think there is something to learn out of everything. And as I said, mistakes are the best teachers in life. So let's embrace a better future if we can together, but with a conscientious thought. Okay, guys, you stay awesome, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye, 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 bye.